Yeah, so in that birth, you could see that, yeah, she didn't birth on the bed either. So, you know, just because we have a bed there doesn't mean you have to birth on it. Jenny and I, when we make the movie, we're going to try and get a little bit creative and show some positions and stuff in the birth suite of things you can do as well. So look out for our acting coming up. Hopefully by next week or so we get that out to you all. As we we're talking about earlier with that skin-to-skin contact, we can release the oxytocin by doing that as well. But to get into labour itself, we can also, and keep your labour going, do things to help promote your body's production of the oxytocin release during labour and birth. So staying calm, comfortable and confident. So that's why we do like you to labour at home, because that's where you are most comfortable as well, even though you might not think you are during an actual birth. Your body is comforted by your own home, and yeah, you're comfortable in your own familiar surroundings. Avoid disturbances such as unwelcome guests or noise and uncomfortable procedures. So that's why we try not to do too many vaginal examinations, especially if they are really uncomfortable. And one good thing that's come out of some recent sort of studies and that I've seen due to this corona is really good bonding and stuff with your baby, and as well as labour, because you can't have, even though I know many of you will want to, but you're really focusing on your labour and your baby, because you can't have those unexpected guests and that. And also some women at home, I think we've personally had really good rates in our breastfeeding and that, because they can really focus on that as well.
It's actually been proven. Sonia was just telling me, our manager was just telling me yesterday that weights are better. They're gaining their weight back quicker.
Yeah, quicker.
Somebody was telling me. Was it you?
No, I think Sonia did say, but yeah,
just break off for a chat there.
Yeah. So yeah, some good stuff happening from this. Staying upright during your labour and using gravity to help your baby come down that pelvis as well. And so that's why we might suggest different positions, and sometimes even doing it for a contraction or two can really help that baby as well. So and it's really great if the support person is supportive of all those position changes and stuff as well, because we can help the woman move if the support person also helps, but also, yeah, it might only be that 1 to 2 contractions, and it could really change that baby's position or help bub come down that little bit further, or help dilate that cervix that bit more as well. And just reading what we're reading on there. So another thing that can help promote the release of oxytocin is nipple stimulation. So your midwives at most of your appointments around that 36 week mark we'll chat about antenatal hand expressing. That can sometimes release some oxytocin, but also partners can get involved in this as well by doing some nipple stimulation, and that can help getting a woman into labour as well. And yeah, it helps release that as well. And with doing the antenatal expressing, it can also be very helpful in having learnt that antenatally, because it's a skill that it's great to have postnatally. But also if we get a little supply of your milk, that can help if we need to give it to bub, if bub's not feeding for some reason, just having that little bit of supply there. can be very helpful, especially in the first 2 days, definitely. But also giving us an indication of how your supply is. But yeah, most importantly, just giving you that extra skill already to have for when you're at home or in the middle of the night or something and you can't get your baby on, but you can hand express and we can give that milk to bub as well.
Okay, one of my favourite things, touch and massage. We've already really touched on this before, excuse the pun. Physical contact is very soothing and comforting for most people, but very occasionally you come across somebody who, please don't touch me, and you just don't want people to touch you. And, you know, the basic premise is just communicate with us, and if we're doing something that's annoying, I'm sure if your birth partner is doing something that's annoying, the very fact that they're your birth partner is you've got the relationship to say, stop that, don't do that. And it's much better if we can get it right. So a lot of times we find men, I'll just do it on you, they'll sort of tend to, because they're a little bit anxious and, you know, their partner is a bit, starting to get a bit noisy, they'll be like this, it's all right, and a bit vigorous and hard, but not sort of deep. What's more helpful is more deep massage, and we'll probably show this in the video too, but getting right into the muscles with your thumbs is really good spot. There's a spot on the back where you reach quite nicely yourself, but obviously you're probably not, you're wanting somebody else to do that for you because you get that extra benefit of somebody else's touch. So yeah, a lot of people will feel intense pain in the lower back during labour. You can lie down on your side and get a good back rub using some lotion, or you can just get that deep massage going while they're upright. You can just changing positions around, getting on all fours sometimes will relieve it. Probably for those people who have a lot of back pain, lying on your back is probably the worst place you could be. You don't really want to, I don't think that's a great position to labour in anyway. We much prefer you to be off the bed moving around, but if you feel really, really tired during your labour, sometimes it's the best thing to do. I had one of my girls, I call them my girls, she's had 3 babies with me, and her first labour, she really laboured instinctively. The second one, she thought she should just keep moving around like she did with her first, and she actually needed to have a sleep. And so she had some pain relief, had a sleep, and then got up and started moving around and birthed very, very well. And she said she fought it for a long time and realised that wasn't the way to go. So number 3, she got it right. Yeah, she did really, really well. So you learn as you go along, I think. And but yeah, any touch and massage is great. Pillows, towels, blankets, warm flannels, they all help. Warmth is very comforting, so we'll often heat up a bit of a heat pack, but if you could bring your own wheat pack in, that would be better because it maintains the heat for a little bit longer. And yeah, but just even like the act of putting on a warm, heavy blanket can be really comforting too. So that's something that we sometimes do. If somebody just does need to lie down for a bit, put that warm, heavy blanket on and just let them, just moving things around, not doing the same thing forever is helpful. A foot rub, if you like a foot rub now, you'll probably like a foot rub in labour, and there's lots of benefits with acupressure points. There's also acupressure point for just general pain relief in your thumb, in the web between your thumb and your forefinger. You'll be able to find that one. You can do it now while I'm talking. Access it by just getting into that web and then just pressing quite hard from both sides, and you'll find that there'll be a point where it's a bit tingly, sort of a bit like, oh, I'm not sure if I like it, but it's okay. I liken it to when you've got an irritated gum and you can't leave it alone. It's all like that, and it's actually really quite helpful. I'm not sure if it's just simply because you're thinking about something else, but anyway, if it works, it works. It's meant to do more than that. So that's just what we call an acupressure point. There's the back ones that I told you about. There's another great one on your foot, which we can show you for when you feel a bit anxious. So a foot rub is great for that. It just sort of grounds you. It's good to be in touch with terra firma, and so having a foot rub kind of helps you kind of just feel like you're in the present a little bit. So yeah, acupressure is mentioned. Oh yeah, one on the shoulders. Can you see sort of about halfway along your shoulders in that kind of chumpy muscle of your shoulders going up to your neck? Oh, that's nice. We'll just do that. Yeah. Do bear in mind that however much your partner enjoyed being massaged beforehand, she may not want to be touched during labour, especially during the latter stages. So if you get hit away, don't feel offended. I'm sure you won't.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We don't take anything.
Yeah.
Don't get offended during the...
No, exactly.
Especially someone's labour at all, because many things get said, and
that's right. Yeah. There's another great one which is a bit hard to show on Sally, but it's actually on the skin. But I'll show you the area, and it's there. It's all right. Ooh, just higher. It's there in that really soft spot, softest part of a woman's body. They say is up here, and just very gently touching that, almost tickling. So it's not, rubbing. It's a very, very gentle touch. And interestingly enough, I heard somewhere with one of the study days I did that releases oxytocin. And I had a midwife who did that to me, and I'm sure she didn't know that. In fact, I still know her to this day. And I asked her about it, and she said, no, I didn't know that. It's just what she did instinctively. And but it was so comforting to me. I remember that was so good. And it just kind of gives you the warm fuzzies, but some people hate it. Every now and again I'll have somebody, I'll show them that and I'll say, does that give you any reaction? They'll go, oh yeah, that feels nice, or not really, or I don't like it. So it's very much an individual thing. Aromatherapy can be fantastic. Lavender tends to be a fragrance that's very soothing, but if you can't stand the smell of lavender, please don't think that you'll be able to use it in labour. What's another fragrance? Some people like peppermint.
Yes. There is I've forgotten the name of it, but there is a special one that's it actually doesn't smell that nice, but it's meant to help.
Labour.
Yeah. I can't think of it.
We'll try and remember it.
Yeah,
we'll use it on the video. Yeah. Anyway, fragrance is really very important for some people. Like, it might even just be that you've got this favourite perfume that I don't know, just reminds you of your honeymoon or some really special occasion that you got it for your 21st birthday. It just reminds you, takes you back to that place. Fragrance is very powerful for that.
If any of you are into your essential oils, then you can speak to like doTERRA or whatever to your sellers, and they usually know the blends to make up as well.
Yeah,
and many people bring that in. So
your little roller that you can put on your wrists and whatnot. But some people just get their favourite perfume, put it on a tissue, and smell that. Or it could be your husband's aftershave or something. It could be whatever. It might even be a deodorant. It doesn't really matter what it is, but if it takes you to a different place, that's probably good. And music also helps create a comfortable environment. We've had some absolutely rocking labour rooms. I show my age when I say it's like a disco in here. And sometimes it does feel like a disco because the music that they've picked has been, like 80s or 70s stuff, or the other night it was all 90s and early 2000s. So, it's really good. And you can just do your own playlist off Spotify. I'm not exactly sure how you do it. You probably will be able to work that out just to make a playlist that you like. And if you don't like a particular song, or if it's not right for you, you just skip it. But generally speaking, upbeat stuff is good in the early stages. something that's just sort of positive and, you know, just sort of makes you feel good. And then possibly more soothing as you're getting into that, maybe that transitional stage where you're not into the active bit of pushing yet, but you're getting close and you just need something to calm you down. And then perhaps a bit more active later on. We've had some hilarious times, some really quite inappropriate lyrics coming across right when we're pushing a baby out, and it just makes us laugh, which is great because it breaks any tension in the room and gets the endorphins flowing, which is what we want. Buckets and buckets of endorphins, which you know, oxytocin is one of them. It's a feel-good hormone. We don't want adrenaline. Adrenaline is what's produced when you are frightened, anxious, all of those emotions just that, you know, just too uptight, and we want to really put a bucket over them with the endorphins. So work with us on it. When we say we want you to calm down, it's not because we just, you know, want you to be quiet or whatever. There's nothing wrong with being noisy. Some people, that's just the way they operate, and that is fine. But there's a difference between being noisy and just because you're incredibly anxious and upset, and being noisy because it helps you to get through to the next that next contraction. So we'll help coach you in that, and I think your birth partners will become, you know, they'll pick up on what we're saying and repeat it, and but yeah, you'll get there. You'll learn.
Breathing and relaxation. So focused breathing might work by interrupting the transmission of pain signals to your brain by giving you something positive to focus on. As I think seen in that video, if you were able to, they touched on using even the nitrous oxide, which can be a good pain relief. Another reason why I like to give that to women is because it makes them focus on their breathing, just having that in there and focusing on those really long, deep breaths throughout contractions and throughout their labour, more than even if sometimes they don't even have the gas on, but just to primarily focus on that breathing. There's many breathing exercises out there, even just for anxiety and stuff like that as well, which can really help during the labour process. Again, it releases those hormones, which can be natural pain relief as well, and just helps you reframe your thinking about your labour and giving it a positive and more manageable, productive look into it. Do you have good breathing references?
There's actually a website that I stumbled across recently that I really like, and it's called the Positive Birthing Company. And she's just got these little brief videos, snippets of about 3 or 4 minutes, so they don't take long at all to go through, and you can just scroll your way through them. There was about half a dozen there, I think. And one of them, she sort of made this, and I've used it a lot since. If you put your hand above your head and started squeezing your hand like that, because your arm is a long way from your heart, it doesn't take very long before it starts. Even now, I'm feeling it fatiguing, and then it moves on from fatigue to pain. So really what she was saying is that's a little bit like your uterus. It's becomes painful because it's getting tired and when it's working. So just like a sore muscle when you run or anything. So because my arm was such a long way from my heart had to work really hard to get the blood there. So what you really want to do is get plenty of blood and oxygen to the working muscle, which is your uterus. So it's just very, very important to breathe properly, and she goes through a few things with that. But the basic thing of it, you know, with the way I coach women is just to make sure they're breathing all the way out. When you're anxious, you tend to, you know, like somebody having an asthma attack will breathe all in the top, and their muscles get terribly tight around the shoulders and in the neck. and it's not a good place to be. You just feel more anxious because you're top breathing. But if you can belly breathe, really, allowing that diaphragm to come out, with the belly moving in and out. And if you concentrate on breathing all the way out, then the breathing in will take care of itself.
Yeah.
So that's probably just a really basic overview of that. But yeah, it's very easy to pick up as a support person or us midwives in the room when somebody's getting anxious and their shoulders are up around their ears and they've got that wild look in their eyes. And if they can just calm down and just that's the locking eyes time, lock eyes, calm down, breathe out all the way. And it's just incredible, the transformation. If you really listen to us and do that, you'll feel that hormone shift from the adrenaline back to the endorphins, and that's where you want to be.
Yeah, and a lot of the time we start to breathe with you even to try and help you slow down your breathing. So again, another thing that a support person can do, breathe in and out and try and do it together to help relax and just focus on that breathing as well. So yeah, basic thing, but yeah. Positions in labour as well. Again, we're going to try and hopefully do some of these. I don't think I'll be naked in the bath, but we'll come up with something. But yes, again, we have one good bath, one slightly smaller bath, but a bath can be great, and at home as well you can do that as well. So getting into warm water with either the shower or bath. Some people absolutely hate the bath during labour, but love a shower and the running water. So by all means, we don't have water restrictions here in the hospital, so you can have as many showers or baths as you like. Great. And again, you can do all different positions in especially the shower, probably more so as well. So can be very helpful and great for back pain, great for every pain, but that can work really well. And partners, you can bring your boardies and stuff in there as well, and get in the shower too. Maybe not your Speedos, but
not your chops. Preferably not. We want you to be involved, but we don't want to be that involved. I love to relate back to, I had a labour very recently, and it was the first time I said, "Oh, you're tempting me. I really want to take a picture," but of course I couldn't. But I took a picture in my mind's eye. She was laying on her belly in the bath, and she really got herself fully immersed. But generally, you're sort of more the other way, and we put a warm, the towel over your tummy. And just keep the warm water going on that. We can let the water out, let more in. We usually do that several times. And it just helps pass some time with that warm water. It's just very relaxing, and you relax better between the contractions. You're still feeling it. We can also hook up the gas so that it's all the way in there. We've got extension tubing. So with all of our locations, we can get the gas to you. And it's just a beautiful way of getting through some of that labour. We probably would prefer you not to go into the bath once you're in hospital anyway, till you're at least 4, maybe 5 centimetres. It's sort of nice to have that as a nice goal. That, okay, when I'm 5 centimetres, that's when I can go to the bath, and it's really good to get that middle bit done, a lot of that in the bath. And oftentimes, the time that you want to come out is when you're transitional. But I've had quite a few births over the years that women have just been, I've just keep looking and checking because of the way they're behaving, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see some head there, we better get you out. And that's fine because we've got help, we've got birth partners, we've got extra hands around if we need to kind of haul you out of the bath. But usually we've got plenty of time, especially with your first baby. But it's a great place to just feel like you can get on with things in your own way. The other thing too, I had another lady one time who she beat out a rhythm of a I think she went to Monterey College, and she was a cadet, and so she beat out the cadet tune. I don't know what that is. It wouldn't matter what it was. You could do Happy Birthday if you wanted to, whatever. But just it was a rhythm that she had to think about. So she's engaging her head to do a rhythm, and it's helping her to go through the contraction. So another person had jingly jangle bangles, and she jingle jangled them all the way through the labour. Another thing we can use is a comb, just an ordinary hair comb, and put it so it digs into your fingers sort of, and you close your hand over it, and so you've got control as to how much you press, and that's another acupressure point. So there's lots of little things that you can do, and if you're prepared to sort of go through all of them, I kind of like the idea of setting up stations around the room, so you can have, one corner has got the fit ball. We've got a large and a small fit ball now. You can sit on that for a bit, and then you might, lean up against the wall and get your legs nice and strong using that, leaning against the wall. That's sort of relaxing in a way because you're supported, but you're still in a kind of like a sitting position, if that makes sense. You can kneel on the mat, and there's any number of different things that you can do. So
Yep. And as much as I say you don't have to be on the bed, we can also get the bed in some very different positions as well, and get on all fours and stuff like that on there as well. Here's another couple of positions. The squatting position is great. So squatting, or even squatting over the toilet as well, can be really good, and allows bub to come down that pelvis even more. Support people, just supporting them as well, leaning over one another, and to help get the baby into the better position. Sometimes leaning onto the bed when it's really high, like elevated into the bed, because that gives you something to rest on, but allows you to still be upright, because it can be, and people can almost fall asleep on a pillow, although standing up, but just to allow to relax and recover a little bit between contractions as well.
And the slow dancing there in the left-hand box, that's probably what they're doing, I think, is just a gentle sway, just like one of those, wedding dances that they haven't done anything prepared. They just sway around in each other's arms a little bit. That's a really good one. And I think that birthing video showed the birth partner was behind her, supporting her underneath her arms. So I'm not sure if there was a device involved in there. I think there probably was, but he was behind her, and that's something you can also do, is you just got to be careful depending on size ratios between you. So sometimes with that support person leaning against the wall and locking arms underneath from the back can be a really good position as well. Just play around with it and try and be creative. So if you think about a few things that you like the sound of, maybe jot them down, because sometimes you can forget. And if you've got, that's right, I was going to try that, or because you don't want to get to the end of your labour and think, I wished I had tried this or this or this. I've remembered them now. So a lot of people write notes while they're reading Juju's book and, actually underline or, write down what they like, what things that sound good to them.
And here's a couple more. So that one's the on all fours on the bed. And yes, we've got those fit balls available too. Birthing on all fours is, definitely my favourite position for people to birth.
Me too.
And especially with back pain as well, getting off. If you've got back pain, remember to get off.
Get off your back.
And it allows us to support people to be able to massage the back and stuff as well in those sort of positions. Some talking about more pain relief options and stuff. So this is the TENS machine. So it sends out little electric pulses, as is intermittent ones I think you can get, or constant ones as well you can get, and handheld unit that as it says, interrupting the pain impulses. So it basically just tricks the brain with sending out those little electrode pulses, and stop sending those messages through. So especially with back pain, I find it works really well. Sort of earlier in labour, a lot of people, even we have 2 or 3 TENS machines that we can hire out to you guys, and you can start off using that in early labour at home, or come in with wearing it, or start it in hospital as well. So if that's something that you wanted as well, chat to your midwives, especially around probably that 36 to 37 week, and if you want to rent one off us, you can also get them from your own private physios and stuff as well. Really helpful. Sterile water injections, they work really well for back pain. I wouldn't, if you weren't having any back pain, I wouldn't suggest them at all. But for that constant back pain, can work, really, really well. It works a little bit similar to the TENS machine by breaking those pain signals to the brain, and it is 4 injections though, so hopefully we've got 2 midwives here, or another nurse who knows how to do them, and we just inject a tiny little bit of water underneath the skin. It sort of bulges out, and try and do 2 at a time into the area that's in this picture, and that can give really good back pain relief if they work, for a number of hours, and no drugs involved. It is just water, but it does involve those injections as well.
It stings like a bee sting for about 20 seconds, but then it's done, and if you get relief from it, it's truly worth doing it. A lot of people with back pain would probably elect to have an epidural for that reason, and but there might be a wait, and sometimes there's a bit of a wait, so we'll try that, and then while we're waiting for the anaesthetist to come, you're like, well, that's actually as good as. So, but not many people take it up, but then it's really only useful if you've got back pain. So.
Those points that they're sort of pressing in is really good massage points too. So support people without them. The gas that we chatted about, you would have seen in the video, or laughing gas. So our mouthpiece is a tiny bit different to that one up there, but actually we've got here, don't we? I could have got that. That's right. Yeah, so that's our mouthpiece there and connected to this, and we're able to make this quite long to so that we can have it in the bathroom and that too. So you pop it in your mouth, you breathe in and out through it during your contraction. It's best to start about 20 seconds before a contraction. So can be so starting about 20 seconds before a contraction. So your support person can be really helpful with timing in between your contractions of when to start this. And breathing the whole way through your contraction. As I said, it really helps you focus on your breathing anyway. And you've got to do those nice big deep breaths to get the nitrous in your system anyway. You're able to move around with this. You can use it in the shower or in the bath. It can cause some people to have nausea and vomiting. So some people don't like it for that reason. Can cause you to be lightheaded or feel a little bit high, and some people hate that, some people love that. And we can also change the concentration of the nitrous as well to, stronger or lighter as well. So it can be very helpful. And again, we can use it even when we're suturing after the birth if need be, as well as a bit of pain
or
relief.
even if you find the vaginal examinations terribly uncomfortable, or one of the induction processes that we won't talk about today, but you get information one-on-one, can be a little bit uncomfortable as well. So gas is a great option to be able to use in that setting as well.
Yeah. And it's not in the system, it crosses the placenta, but is in and out of the system really quick and with minimal effects to baby. Yeah.
It's very safe. We don't need a prescription. We don't need to know how far dilated you are, whereas other ones we sort of need to have a bit more information before. So you can say, I want some gas, and we can literally hook it up and it's there immediately.
Pethidine is a IM injection that we can give you for pain relief. Do we write morphine afterwards? At the moment, we're using morphine. We're just leaning more towards morphine, and which they work in a similar manner. Painkiller drug that we inject into your thigh or bum, or can even do your arm if you like. It can take away the peak of the contraction, or take away some pain relief through your labour. Sometimes it might allow you to have that sleep that you really needed, or sometimes just taking off that edge enough for you to be able to cope through the contractions.
We often find the support person and the midwife, I'll sort of look over to the support person and say, she's a bit calmer now, or she's looking like she's resting, and sometimes your impression will be it's exactly the same as it was before. So you're still feeling the contraction, but you're actually resting between and just able to get through that next bit of time. It kind of softens the edges, I think.
So it does cross the placenta and does have an effect on the baby sometimes, making them a little bit more sleepy, and can have an effect on the breastfeeding. So that's why we like to check to see how dilated you are before giving either the pethidine or morphine. If we think you're, about to give birth, we won't recommend having it because, as you can see, it lasts for those 3 hours. So if we think that you're going to give birth within sort of the next couple of hours, then we might suggest that not to have it, and to look at potentially an epidural, or see how you're coping, if you can make it. Some people get an examination, and if they know that they're 8 centimetres, they're like, oh no, well, I can do this now. So sometimes that can be a really good thing too. But it does have an effect on baby and make them a little bit sleepier. But if given it early enough during the labour, can give you that much needed relief earlier on, allowing you to have a sleep, or and making you be able to have that energy later on for rest of labour.
And you can have it repeated, especially for a first-time labour. Sometimes, when you're first sort of feeling the strong labour, it can just be a bit overwhelming, and it's a perfect thing to have them to get you through to the next stage. And then, well, that worked really well, so let's have it again, and maybe some gas as well, and it'll get you through without needing to go to anything that will require you to be on the bed and being monitored. I think it's not always just about the bed, it's they're being monitored, and that's absolutely fine. If we need to, we need to, but you know, some people, they've done so well moving around the room and employing all these other techniques to keep them in a calm state, that the idea of actually having to be on the bed being monitored is not the most enthusiastic thing to embrace.
Yeah, that's right.
Not embraced enthusiastically, perhaps. So everybody's individual though, and you know, it'll become evident which way you want to go.